My name is Robert Walia. I'm the founder of Tesrex. In this video, we're going to go through our most commonly asked questions to do with Cisco Enterprise Agreements. We get a lot of those, and we're going to round up the most popular ones here. Additional information will be in the description below, so feel free to check it out. A Cisco Enterprise Agreement is a single contract that takes all the software associated to a specific architecture and puts it into one contract for you to manage and for you to consume from. A knowledge worker is an employee in the company that will be taking advantage of a particular technology. Let's say, for example, they'll be taking advantage of the collaboration portfolio, or they'll be using one of the security products like Cisco EA. An enterprise agreement has a few areas of value. One is around licensing compliance, the ability to have everything in a single contract that terminates at the same date. Make sure that you're not over licensed or under licensed, and you don't have fragmented contracts across the organization. There's also a combination of cost savings, which comes from having a fixed model for pricing through the duration of the contract. You have the 20% growth factor that's built in, and the true forward mechanism does not penalize you for having growth in the organization during the term of the contract. It's subjected to the different organizations and where they are at their current state. However, we see numbers ranging from as low as 22% to as high as 34% over a equivalent perpetual model. The purchase requirements for an enterprise agreement fluctuate based on promotions at a given time. It's hard to put an abstract on what that is. But that's where we can help you, is to figure out what the current promotions are, what the current entry points are for the enterprise agreements after looking at your state on what's currently there. Enterprise agreements can be for different range of organizations. For example, the barrier to entry for a meetings flex plan on the collaboration side for WebEx is much lower than, let's say, for Cisco ACI deployments in an organization. So it can vary based on architecture. The four architectures are collaboration, DNA, which covers enterprise networking, switching, routing, and SD-WAN. Then you have data center, which covers things like ACI, Nexus, Tetration, Hyperflex, and Insights. So you got all those. And on the security side, you got the entire security stack, from next-gen firewalls to AMP, StealthWatch, Umbrella, CloudLock, etc. In that situation, where you have Cisco networking and Cisco security, those would be two different contracts, because the contract is tied to the architecture. So you would have one enterprise agreement for your security side, and then you'd have one enterprise agreement that's specific to your networking side. The time can vary. So for certain agreements, it's been a couple of days from the time we engage to the time we are able to come back with something tangible for the customer to review. For other customers who are a bit more fragmented and generally need some assistance in getting a lay of the land, that can take up to a couple of weeks. But I think that's on the far end of it. A couple of weeks is. So there's a couple of factors that can help with that. One is a letter of authorization, which allows us to work with Cisco and Cisco work with us to look at your estate as a whole. So then we're able to look at everything at an architectural level and see what the current sprawl is for the different technology platforms. We can complement that by a technology that Cisco has called the Cisco Smart Collector. This is just a virtual machine that will sit on your network, and it will go and scout and scan what Cisco devices are existent on your network. And then what we can do is take those two data sets, correlate those together, look for any discrepancies, manually review those with you guys at the company, and then come to a fair understanding of what we think we have. You can adopt new technologies and they will go into that particular contract. So let's say a hypothetical example is, let's say you have a Cisco Security Choice Agreement that consists of next-gen firewalls, that consists of Cisco Umbrella and AMP for endpoints. And let's say you are now at a maturation state in your organization where you'd like to look at StealthWatch. So once you make the decision to go with StealthWatch, that would go right into your existing contract until the term of that contract. There's no penalty for you on bringing in certain technologies into the fold down the road. True Up is a traditional industry standard. So if you look at how traditional enterprise agreements work, what you've used in between your renewal dates or in between your true up dates, which are a term that's everyone's familiar with, you normally get charged for that. So let's say your true up dates are January to January. So what would happen is if you started using certain additional products, say March onwards, well, the vendor would normally come and say, hey, you've been using this product for this amount of time, and now we're going to charge you for that to catch you back up and also charge you that going forward. That's a true up. Very common in the industry. For true forward, we notice what you've been using during that time window, and we charge you that going forward only. So we do not back charge you for you having adopted additional technologies during that 1 year renewal, that true up window. Managing the EA is another area that simplifies operations, and that's done through two things called smart accounts and the EA workspace. The EA workspace is a single portal where you'll be able to see all your contracts, all your licensing that's in use, all the software that's being consumed by certain devices, and you're able to manage all that. And there you're able to generate additional software, you're able to reclaim software, move it from one piece of hardware to another, and so that's great. The smart accounts are accounts that you can use to then look at the entire thing as a hierarchy. So if you have an organization with multiple sub-organizations, you can create things called virtual accounts. So maybe a pool of resources assigned to company X, a pool of resources assigned to company Y. However, the parent at the top level can see the entire estate. This significantly reduces the complexity in managing licensing across multiple entities. It's an area that we've developed a lot of expertise in, spent a lot of time with the Cisco team, spent a lot of time with customers, and building very defined processes. So I mentioned earlier the speed element. So we have taken customers on this journey in a matter of days. And even the more complex situations are really a factor of weeks, not months or half a year or anything like that. On top of that, every EA comes with what we call accelerated adoption, in which we do a quarterly business review with your team to make sure that the technologies in the EA are being adopted and deployed through the organization. We're also then looking at that and saying if there's other incentives and promotions coming up for additional products that can go underneath that EA. The process is relatively simple for a customer. The thing that gets everything started is the letter of authorization, which allows us to look at things with Cisco at a company-wide view. So that's the first process. From there, when we come back to you with tangible results, we can say, hey, here's the technologies that you have, here's all these contracts that are tied to it, here's stuff that's not covered under contracts, here's things that are under provision potentially. Then we correlate all that, and then we ask you to validate the work that we've done. And that's pretty much what it stops for the customer, is the validation of our work. We will go do all the heavy lifting. Thank you for watching. Hopefully that was helpful to you. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. All our information is in the description below.